Hello, beautiful people. How is everybody doing today? Well, tonight. How's everyone doing tonight? I hope everybody is okay. You had a good weekend. We had a very long weekend here in Dubai. I mean, a lot of people were still on holiday today. Not me. I was working, but I was enjoying it. I loved it. I hope everyone had a good week and you did everything that you needed to do. You ran your errands, you went out, you enjoyed the beautiful weather if you are in a place where the weather is beautiful. You enjoyed some sunlight. It's always good to expose yourself to sunlight. Vitamin D is very important for us, so as much as you can, expose yourself to sunlight. Don't burn, but today I decided that I'm gonna talk more about self-love. And the reason why I want to talk more about self-love, we started this topic last Monday. And after I posted the live online, a few people saw it and I received a few comments from some people. One of the comments was actually very interesting and very on point, to say the least. And this is why I decided to talk a little bit more about self-love today and to dive a little bit deeper on what happens when we start that journey and how this journey starts affecting us in our lives. I've been doing this for a few years now. I mean, I started on and off in 2018, taking care of myself and looking more inwards rather than outwards. And it's very interesting how when you start doing this kind of work, how things start changing in your life, how people start changing in your life, how everything that you do start making a difference. It was always making a difference, by the way, but now you are realizing it and now you are seeing it because you are on this journey and you're not letting anything go by without noticing. This is what happens when you start working on yourself and when you start looking inwards and try to understand why you do the things that you do and why you meet the people that you meet and why you bring certain situations in your life versus other situations. So when you are on this journey, you start questioning everything around you. When you're oblivious to everything that's happening around you, that's because you're still not on that journey of self-discovery or any other journey, as a matter of fact. You're just going with the flow. You're just living your life because you are here and, this is what people do. So you wake up in the morning, you do your normal routines, and then I don't know, if you work from home, you just sit in front of your laptop and start working. And if you work from an office or if you have to go out, you just do that. And you don't question and you go with the flow. And then during the day, whatever happens, you're most of the time in a reactive mode. You don't do anything that is you don't really plan how you're gonna act throughout your day. And this is because you're just living, right? And you're not in that journey where you're trying to understand what you are here for, what you're here to do, what are you here to do, and what is the message that you have to put through or to put across through your existence on this planet. So when you start doing this exercise and when you start really putting yourself first. And this is what we mean by self-love. You know, self-love is not being selfish. Let's make it clear. It's not that I become a selfish person. But, I mean, it depends really on how you explain selfishness, or it depends on your definition of selfishness. But basically, self-love is not degrading other people or stepping on other people. It's just making sure that you, with all your being, with everything about you, you come first, and you are nurturing who you are before worrying about everybody else and before worrying about everything else in your life. So you become that focus, you become that entity that needs to be taken care of, that needs to be nourished, that needs to be nurtured, that has all the right to be nourished and nurtured, you know? So when you start focusing on yourself, the first things that you start seeing are changes in your surrounding. And what I mean by that is, if you are on this journey, take note of these things. Write them down. You know, when you start your journey, like write down the things that start happening to you differently. So the one major thing, and this is the reason why I'm doing this live today, is you see people around you change. In fact, they're not changing. They're still the same. You're the one who's changing. And now you are seeing them differently because you are putting yourself first, and because you are treating yourself as the priority in your life. You wake up in the morning. Remember last week we were talking about, you know, how to start this journey of self-love. And the first thing that you need to do is understand how you talk to yourself and how you address yourself and how you respect yourself and cherish yourself. And when you start doing that, everything that you do for you starts reflecting outwards, and people will start seeing that change. So when they start seeing that change, you think that they are changing, but no, they're not. You're the one who's changing, and you're the one who's starting to see things that you probably already knew about everyone else around you, or about everything else around you, or even about the situations that you have in your life. You know all this information. You know it. You just never looked at it because you were not focused on who you are. You were just going with the flow and just moving in your life, and whoever comes in, yes, hello, you're welcome. We chat, we talk, we love, we hate. I don't like this word, but this is how life goes, you know. And then you move forward and you move on, and you let people go, you let people in. You never question, who are these people? Why are these people inside my life? Why are they in my journey? Why are they showing up now? Like, why didn't they show up before? And everything that happens in your life is happening for a reason. Everything that happens in your life is there to teach you something. Every person that you meet in your life is there, you bring into your life so that they can help you, so that they can teach you, and they can bring you to the place that you are meant to be in. Hi Maya. Nice to see you. So basically, when you do that, when you start looking at yourself and you start treating yourself the way that you as a divine being deserve to be treated, you start seeing those changes around you. And you start being more picky. Yes, definitely. You will see that some people will just simply start disappearing from your life. without you even making any single effort, just by you working on yourself and you starting to love yourself, you see people moving away from you. Now let's talk about this a little bit. If people start moving away from you because you are loving yourself, I mean, what does that tell you? That simply tells you that these people shouldn't have been there from the beginning, right? They shouldn't have been there in the first place. But because you were living in that, I don't want to call it ignorance, but you were living in that lack of self-love, you did not even pay attention to the existence of these people in your life, whether they were rising your vibration or putting it down is not the question. It's just their existence in your life did not make any meaning to you because you never questioned it, because you never thought of questioning it, because you never thought that it would make any difference if you question it or not. But it does. It makes all the difference. And when you start working on yourself, especially when you start loving yourself and putting yourself first, then you see these people disappearing. Now, those who disappear just with nothing, those really need not to be in your life. Never, you know? There are other people who disappear from your life because you make them disappear from your life. So you do it by choice. And the reason why this happens is also because when you start loving yourself, you weigh everything else in your life. So you start weighing everything, your habits, your every situation that you put yourself in, the people that you are around, your family members, your loved ones, your colleagues, everything. You start questioning everything around you just because now you are more interested about you and how you feel and what you want and what you desire and what you need. So the people that disappear out of themselves, we said we don't need them. But what happens when you start feeling that there are a lot of people around you that you love so much and that you cherish so much? Like, for example, a lot of family members, let's say. You know, family members have been there with you since the day you were born, and they've always been a part of your life until the day you decide that you want to work on yourself and you start doing those pros and cons and does this work for me or not, and you start looking at the people who are in your life and you start doing this, I don't like to call it cleaning process, but it is. It's not really like a cleaning process. Let's say a clearing process. Let's call it a clearing process. So it's like you're clearing your life and you're clearing everything around you from any single negativity or negative energy or any energy that might be draining you that is coming from these people who at this point in time, because you've been working on yourself, your vibrations are much higher than the vibrations of these people. And this is why you start seeing that they don't fit, that they shouldn't be there, that if they were there up until this moment in time, they were there for a reason, and you and only you know that reason. They taught you something. They existed in your life for a very specific reason. And when you learned that, and when you crossed that reason, they don't need to be there anymore. And this is how life goes. This is why throughout our lives, when we are evolving, we change people in our lives. We never stick to the same people. I mean, very rarely. And we only stick to, like when we say childhood friends, our childhood friends are still with us because they still have a reason to be with us in our lives. This is why they are still there. This is why there's this connection. Their presence in our life is meant to be. And this is why we don't lose them. And you notice with your childhood friends a lot of commonalities between you and that person. You will find so many commonalities, so many things that are always the same between you and that person. This is why you never lose them. So, having said that, there are so many other people that you meet throughout your life and that come and go as you evolve. And the highest evolution of them all is when you put yourself first and when you start working on yourself and you start loving yourself. This is like the highest evolution that you can get to as a person that, what's the word? That, I'm losing the word here. Maya, help me. So when you start doing that, it will come. So when you start losing these people, or when you start bringing in other people, you start bringing in new people to your life when you start working on yourself. Different people, they have completely different vibrations, and their reason for being in your life are also completely different. And now you start feeling that you are in control. No, not clearing. I'm looking for a different word. It will come. So you are now in control. You are now deciding, because you love who you are, because you are working on yourself and you love yourself so much, you don't just let people in out of the blue. Like if anybody comes and knocks at your door, you go like, yeah, welcome, hello, I love you, and you know, life is rosy and pink and amazing. No. You stop doing that. You start being very picky. You start becoming very, not just picky, your choice of people, your choice of even things that you do, we will get to that, but your choice of people becomes completely different when you start working on yourself. And you start attracting people with high vibrations, because this is where you are now. You are at a higher vibration. And if anyone with a lower vibration comes to you, you have a choice. And you decide, do I want that person in my life? Am I able? I mean, what I do is what I question always when I meet new people, especially now after working on myself. Every time I meet a new person, I ask myself a question, especially if their vibration is lower than mine, right? So I ask myself, why am I bringing this person into my life? Am I bringing this person into my life because I am able to help raise their vibration to mine? Is this why I'm bringing this person to my life? And if the answer is no, then that person should not be in my life. So I will not allow that person in my life if my answer is no. And the other type of people that we start bringing into our lives when we are in the self-love journey, and this self-love journey, by the way, once it starts, it doesn't stop. It's not something that you stop doing, because it's so euphoric and it's so pleasing and it's so amazing that you wouldn't want to let go of such a feeling when you start loving yourself and you are in that state of gratitude, of clarity, of self-love, to the point that you don't need anything else in the world to make you happy. It's like self-sustainability, right? So you are there with yourself and you feel like you own the whole world. This is how important self-love is. And this is how important this journey is. And this is why once you take that first step and you start this journey, there's no going back. It's too good for you to let go of. It's too good, but sometimes, because life is life, we still face those issues. We still face those challenges. And the universe throws at us challenges, not because the universe wants us to fail, but because the universe is teaching us even more stuff. And it's taking us to even higher vibrations. And this is why we bring into our lives situations that will rise us higher, that will bring us to even higher vibrations in our lives. Now, going back to those people that you start maybe gently pushing away from your life, or maybe abruptly. It depends on who you are and how you do things. Some people decide that, when they start working on themselves, like I'm someone who might, it depends also on the other person in my life. So if I have a very dear friend to me and I'm working on my self-love and I'm appreciating myself and my vibration is so high, but this person who is in my life, whom I love so dearly, when they are around me, they drain my energy because they are at such a low vibration, and I am, no matter how much I try, I'm unable to bring them up in their vibration. I just create a certain distance between, without hurting that person. Forgive me. Without hurting that person, or without making that person even feel that there's a difference in the relationship, I do create a certain kind of distance. And this takes a lot of exercise and it takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of work and also a lot of love, because you don't want to be doing this without feeling so much love for that person. If you feel so much love for that person and you create that distance, that person will only feel the love. They will not really feel that distance. And you are always there one way or another without always being there. I don't know if that makes sense, but think about it. Like, you have so many people in your life. Think about a person in your life that at any given point in time started bringing your vibrations down or bringing your energy down. Like, when you are around them, they just drain you. They drain your energy and you feel like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders just because they are present in your life. Not in your life like all the time, in that specific moment. What do you do? So you can either choose to keep them there and try to help, but if you do not succeed and let it happen to you, you are the one who's making that choice. You are the one who's making your decision this way. And by deciding that, you are the one who is allowing other people's vibrations to bring yours down. And you are the one who's allowing their energy to drain you. And this goes back to what I spoke about last week, about, the non-negotiables and putting boundaries and creating boundaries so that and whoever is around you knows what your boundaries are, and then they will not cross them, because the way you are leading your life will simply not allow them to. Even if they try, some people try, by the way, but they can't. But can we be rational all the time? Even self-love experts could still get burnt, drained, and then rationality kicks in. 100%, Alisar. 100%. That's so true. I was just about to say, no matter how much you are in control, you get to sometimes a point where you lose it. Or I don't like saying lose it, because you don't really lose it. You just hit a bump on the road, right? So you hit a bump on the road. What do you do? The question is, what do you do when something like this happens? Rationalizing thing is not a wrong thing. You can always rationalize things. But where is this rationalization coming from? Is it coming from your heart or is it coming from your ego? When your rationalization is coming from your ego's job is here just to protect you, and it's here to make you do the things that will always keep you safe. But what is safe? You know? How do you know what is safe for you? When you come from your heart, even if you are using logic, your heart will guide you and your heart will take you to the right place. Now, for example, my friend who sent me a message after last week's live, she said that when she let go of these people from her life, she felt guilty for letting them go because she loves them so much. 1 second. As usual, Lucky wants to eat. 1 second. Oh my God, Lucky, your timing. Lucky's timing is amazing. All right, so when you are doing this, I like to call it pachotage, you know, like when you're studying for the exams, you decide, okay, this I'm going to study, this I'm not going to study, this I'm going to study, this I'm not going to study. So you look at these people, but you don't do it so randomly. This time you're really basing your choices on your life experience, on how they are affecting your life, every single second of it, every single minute of it, every single hour, depending on how much you allow them into your life. So if these people are draining you, the best way to do this is with extreme love and gentleness and kindness and compassion. Compassion is the number one virtue that you need, that you want to choose to have in your life. Being compassionate and always understanding that it's not always about you, even when you are in your self-love journey. Like when you meet people randomly during the day and you know, you go up and down in your reactions and things happen, always remember what is happening in other people's lives is not about you. It's about them. This is what they're happening in what they're having in their own life. So it should not affect you because it's not about you. And if anything, you should look at it with compassion. If anything, this is how you should look at it. And when you exercise doing this, your vibrations will always be high. You will always have that smile on your face, and people will be looking at you wondering why you always have that smile on your face. You can ask my friends lately. I mean, every time we go out, we do things. Like every time you look at me, you would hardly see me frowning. You'd hardly see me looking at others, and judgment is another thing that starts disappearing from your life when you start loving yourself and you start working on yourself. This is a very important thing, and that's a topic for another live. It's a huge thing, okay? But again, going back to once you decide to let go of these loved ones, I want to call them, from your life, and like my friend, start feeling guilty. Ask yourself, why are you feeling guilty? What is it about these people that is making you feel this way? Maybe there's something there for you to learn. Maybe there's something there for you to understand. Maybe there's something there for you to work on about yourself. So always question. And you will realize once you are on your awakening journey, I like to call it, and everybody else calls it awakening journey, but you know, self-love is also a sort of awakening journey. So when you are on this journey, everything that happens, every feeling that you have is there for a reason, and it's there to teach you something. So ask the question. Always be curious about the feelings that you're having, the reactions that you're having. Even be curious about the people that you let in after you start working on yourself, and also those that you push away. Why am I pushing them away? What is it about these people that is now, after I started working on myself and after I started loving myself enough, that is like pushing me in my mind and in my heart to keep them away from my life? Okay? And then you can start understanding the journey that you have been living, what you were learning throughout that journey. What is it that you've been learning throughout that journey? This is how you start knowing these things. So I say, even if you feel guilty, let the feeling happen and ask why, and figure out the answer. When you figure out the answer, the guilt will go. And now you know, right? Now, what are the other things that change in your life? So we spoke about people, that you let in new people that have higher vibrations than you, or at least the same level of vibration. And you let go of people from your life who were draining you and bringing your vibrations down. And if you choose to keep them, you choose to keep them to either help them higher their vibration, or you still have something to learn. If you choose to keep people who are draining you, remember, it is your choice. And you're the one who is responsible for that choice. And you're doing it for a reason. So ask yourself, what is the reason? Why am I keeping that person in my life? What is it that I have to learn from that person's presence in my life still? And once you learn it, you will see that naturally that person will start to disappear from your life. So the other things that change in us when we start loving ourselves enough are our habits. You know, the things that we do day in, day out. Like how we treat our body, for example. How we treat, I see a lot of difference on how I treat my skin, how I treat my hair. I start becoming more loving to my body. This is like, for me, that was the first thing that started changing in me, was wanting to do something for my body, wanting to support my body in the right way. And I started changing my diet. And by diet, I don't mean like trying to lose weight. I mean my natural diet. What am I eating? What am I letting inside my body? What am I allowing to go inside my body? And I started understanding what it is that everything, like how everything that I eat affects my body. And I started realizing, okay, this I shouldn't have. I quit smoking. I mean, it's been a year and a couple of months now. So for me, this is a major thing. These are habits that you start doing when you start loving yourself enough, right? You start taking care of yourself. You start taking care of your body, of your hair, of your face, of everything about you. You start taking care of what you do and how you do things. You know, for example, like even when you wake up in the morning, how you wake up in the morning becomes completely different when you start loving yourself, right? So you either wake up in the morning, if you wake up in the morning, like always, and you have like, oh my God, and the first thing that you think of are negative thoughts, right? Thanks, Alisa. So the first thing that you think of are negative thoughts, and your body is already like that. There's no self-love there. When you love yourself, you wake up in the morning, like when you open your eyes, there's this bright light coming out of your eyes. Just by waking up in the morning, just opening your eyes, you go like, oh, it's a new day, you know? You there's this excitement that I honestly cannot explain it. It's just there, you know? You wake up excited. You wake up like thinking, yes, it's a new day and I have one wonderful day to go through yet again, you know? This is how your self-love affects you. And this is how you start living your life. And like I said last week, you know, when you start doing those affirmations to yourself, when you talk to yourself, when you love yourself enough. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I talk to myself in the mirror every morning. Good morning, I love you, what are we doing today? You know, things like that. When you start doing these things, I mean, I used to do this when I was a kid, and then I stopped for a while when life became a little bit harder. And now, because I started loving myself again, and I'm on this amazing journey, I started doing this all over again. But I used to do it when I was much younger, like in my teens. I was always looking at myself in the mirror and praising myself and praising my looks, and you look amazing, and oh my God, I love you so much. You know, doing this again now is for me just it's like restating a fact that has always been there, but that I have missed for a very long period of time. And now I'm just reinstating it. I'm just putting it there and making sure it stays there and it doesn't go away. And obviously the when you mature enough and you start this from a maturity, like I don't want to say maturity, like when you've experienced enough in your life and you are on this journey, now you know that there's no going back. Nobody starts this kind of journey and goes backward. There's only like a forward. This is only a forward movement. There's no backward. But like you said, Alisar, there are always bumps on the road. And the question is, what do we do when we face them? Do we hide? Do we run away? Or do we say, what is it that I'm learning? Or what is it that I need to make better about myself to be able to cross this challenge in my life, or to cross this bump? What is this bump teaching me? What do I have missing? What is it that I still haven't learned? Right? The other thing that changes, and this is a huge one, are your standards. And by changing your standards, this is why a lot of people change in your life, because you are changing your standards as well. So you become, like I said before, you become more picky. You start wanting to choose the right standards for you. And when I say standards, they don't have to be, I mean, your standards are completely different than my standards. My standards are completely different than Maya's, for example, or Alisar. So everyone's standard is very subjective. This is their own standard. And as they are the bosses of their lives, and as I am the boss of my own life, I'm the one setting these standards. And no one's going to come and tell me, no, you need to decide on this, not on that. No one will be able to tell you these things, and no one will be able to impose anything on you unless you allow it. And when you allow, it means that you're not in control. And when you're not in control, it means that you're not loving yourself enough. So everything is, everything is like this. If you lose any part of this, the whole thing starts to collapse. So that's why your standards change, to keep this bond going and to stay in control of your own life. And you decide what you want to do, how you want to do things, and why you want to do what you want to do. So you stop becoming random. Your actions stop becoming random. Your actions become very well planned. Your actions become, and even your emotions, you will see, they become not necessarily planned, but very much controlled. And you allow them to happen or not to happen because you're in control, right? So these are the main things that change. You also see changes happening in your hobbies, like the simplest things sometimes. Like, I'm a biker, right? And for me, over the past since 2012, biking has been a major thing in my life, and I just love it. And I go on my bike and I feel so much freedom. I feel powerful, and I feel strong and, invincible when I'm on my bike. And I have to tell you, when I started this journey, this is one of the hobbies that started becoming less important. It's still there. I still love it, but it started becoming less important. I'm now more interested in reading, believe it or not, and I'm like such a slow reader. I'm like probably the slowest reader you can ever meet in the whole world, right? But since I started this journey, I like bought maybe 20 books. And if I really want to read them, if I was like in my old self, it would take me 20 years to read those 20 books. And I've finished already like 4 of them. And for me, this is a huge thing. It's a big thing, This is how much I have changed. Oh my God. If I put myself before and I like compare the two, Maysoon, there's a big leap and a huge difference. And it all happened because I decided to put myself first. And I decided to take care of myself and to cherish myself and not to let anyone put me down, or anyone bring me down, or any energy around me alter me. 100%, Maya, 100%. It's all about the journey, and everyone's journey is different. Everyone's journey has its own ups and its own downs, and it's always, for me, it's very interesting when I look at other people's journeys, and I admire people for going through their journeys with the resilience that they go through it with. A lot of people go, like I said, when you start it, you don't stop, because from the minute you start seeing the smallest change, and when you are on a self-development or self-awareness journey, the changes are always to your own benefit. They are always positive for you. Others might see them otherwise, but we don't care about what others see. What we care about is how our journey is for us, and how is it serving us, and where is it taking us. So when we are on this journey, we know, and only we know, what is good for us and what is not good for us. And this is why people throughout their journeys, they take different their journeys are completely different from one another, because they are doing it at their own pace. So you cannot push something like that. It's not like today I start working on myself and tomorrow I'm like the best person in the world. Perfection, no. You're always learning, you're always evolving, you're always changing. And when you are on this journey, it's always to a higher vibration. This is the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. And if you decide to stop, it will be your decision and your decision only. It cannot be something that is imposed on you. Because once you are on this journey, you won't let anything be imposed on you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please, I mean, honestly, even when you are watching this as a replay, if you find that, you know, some of the things that I'm saying, they do not resonate or they are wrong or you feel that they are wrong, let me know and let's talk, you know? I like to talk about this. I like to understand how others see these things. Maybe I see them differently, you know? Thank you, Maya. I'll see you in a bit. So, you know, when you are on this journey, this is the most important thing. And if you decide to quit, it's your decision. No one can make you do that except you. What else changes? What is it that you start doing more of when you are... Yes, 8:30 my time, Dubai time. Karine. It's okay, you still have 15 minutes. But you can watch the replay, sweetie. So what was I saying? Yeah, what else? What do you do less of, and what do you do more of when you are on a self-love journey? So you start doing less harmful things to yourself. Starting by, like I said, when you start loving your body, you start taking care of the things that you let in, that you eat, that you consume. You start taking care of your skin. I mean, I I tell you, I've never put creams on my face. I mean, for me, it was like something that I would start a little bit and then I would stop. But now I'm on a roll, you know, nothing stops me. Every morning I have to put my daily cream. Every night I have to put my night cream. So I start taking care of myself. I do more of these things. The one thing that I noticed I do, and I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I noticed that I start listening a lot more than talking. Now, obviously not on the lives because I'm alone here and I need to talk. So, but when I'm out with people and when I'm, even if I'm having a discussion with someone like on the phone or over Zoom or WhatsApp, I noticed that I became a more avid listener and more attentive, and I became also very picky with words. And this is something that I learned through all the techniques that I'm learning to help myself and to help others in their journeys. So I started noticing that there are lots of words that I've stopped using. A lot. Even when I'm joking. I mean, for me, like, those who know me would know I'm a very funny person. So I started, like, and I'm very sarcastic. And sarcasm needs you to use sometimes very specific words that could be negative words. So I started using those, and I might be losing my sense of humor, who knows, but I don't think so. But you know, I started being very aware of the choice of words that I use. And this is what I'm using: more positive words, more affirmations, more affirmations is not the right word, because you can say a negative affirmation. I mean, it's like, you know, if you say life sucks, I mean, this is the worst affirmation that you can ever say. Right? Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. You could say life is amazing and I'm learning so much from it. You know, this is like a very positive affirmation. So you start noticing that the words that you are using become completely different words. Your dictionary, your whole thesaurus, or your whole dictionary changes. And it's very interesting. It's amazing to note these changes. I started journaling. I mean, I started writing things. And again, what I have noticed, I mean, so many things that I started doing now, I used to do them when I was way much younger. Like I used to write a lot when I was a kid. And now I'm going back to that. I'm not writing for the sake of writing. I'm just journaling, you know, and journaling is a whole different thing that you can do. And it's a very helpful tool. And I use it a lot, especially lately when I start having, when my ego starts, you know, with those bad thoughts that the ego starts putting in my mind, and instead of, you know, entertaining them and going with that flow, I acknowledge them. And this is something that I learned because I'm working on myself. And this is something that everyone in their awakening journey will at one point in time will go through. And if you're on your awakening journey and you're not doing it, try it. It's very helpful. You know, acknowledge these thoughts with your ego and say thank you. Thank you for, oh, I didn't see that. So thank you so much for showing me. But let's pause it a little bit. I want to explore something else. And I know it's safe, and I want you to know that it's safe. You're talking to your ego, right? Because your ego, your ego's job is to make you feel safe. So if you acknowledge the thoughts and you acknowledge that I know and I hear you and I appreciate you for trying to protect me, but I know this can be safe, let's explore it. Take your ego with you on that journey. And teach your ego that there are other ways to be safe. It doesn't always have to be the way your ego knows, because your ego has been conditioned for the past, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, depends on your age, right? That's the current ego, not taking into consideration everything from previous experiences we've been through. So your ego is so conditioned and it's always there worrying about you and how to protect you. So when you acknowledge that and you hold your ego by the hand kind of and take them with you on that ride, they will feel safer. And your ego's your ego will feel safer, and your ego will feel appreciated and heard and understood, even if you are making a different choice. And try it. And these things, you can do them easily. They just need to be remembered. And I was having this discussion with a friend yesterday, but we know, especially those of us who are on this awakening journey and on this self-love journey, and this not only self-love, it's just, you know, waking up to who we are and knowing who we are and why we are here and what needs to be done in our lives, right? So, and for who and why and when we should do it, you know, all these questions. So when we start doing this, sometimes we forget how to practice. That's what I was telling my friend yesterday. We need to always remember. We want to choose to always remember to do the right thing for our mind and our heart, and mainly our heart. So when we fall, or when we go through a negative thought, or when something negative comes to our mind, like a negative thought is projected into my mind, I acknowledge it, I say thank you, and it takes practice to remember to do this instead of going with that flow. And sometimes you have to go with that flow. The question is, how long do you go with that flow? Like, do you keep that flow for the whole day? Let's say you wake up in the morning. Let's say I have 2 cats and a dog, okay? So I wake up in the morning and one of the cats is scratching the furniture. So I would feel upset, right? I would maybe shout at the cat, or I would, I don't know, like bring her and tap her on her hand for ruining the furniture. And I'd be upset. The question is, how long would I be upset? Like, would I make this small incident completely throw my day off? Or would I just be upset for that second, that split second? I acknowledge that feeling, I acknowledge that emotion, and I let it go, instead of keeping it lingering throughout my whole day and ruining my whole day. Because this is how stress starts, right? And then if this continues, it becomes a habit. And in that habit, if it continues, then it becomes my personality. So I'm always on the edge, I'm always stressed, I'm always cancel that. Obviously that's not me, but I'm just giving it as an example. So what you do with the situations that you are faced with at any given point in time in your life is what will set the tone of your life. It will either make your life a better life if the tone that you set to it is a good tone, or it will make your life miserable if you decide that the tone that you're going to set is a negative tone. And we go back again to the fact of you being in control of your own life. You are the boss. So it's your choice whether you decide to move forward with, like in this example, a bad day, or you just give it the time it needs. It requires probably 2-3 minutes of your time, your very precious time, by the way. Your time is so precious. To waste it on emotions like this, especially in situations that are really so simple and so silly. Like, for example, when you are driving on the road and someone else on the road is driving, let's say, too slow on the highway or too fast on the highway, and that thing pisses you off and it changes your whole mood for the whole day. Why? Your life is too important for you to let something like this affect your whole life or your whole day, right? These are simple things, but when you start noticing these simple things and you start taking note and doing the right thing instead of just going with that flow and living that emotion to the extreme, now you are in control, and now your self-love is the priority. And you see how different self-love is from being selfish. It's a completely different thing. Completely different thing. And if people think that you are selfish because you are loving yourself, then you shouldn't have them in your life. And I say this with all the love and all the compassion and all the gratitude for their existence up to that point in time. They were there for a reason. If they don't love you because you love yourself, really? Right? Think about it. I love myself. Everyone around me that is in my life should love me as much as I love myself. Otherwise, I don't want them to be in my life. They shouldn't be there. Having said that, I'm gonna end this live on this note, and I hope this has been of value to you, to everyone who's going to listen to it later on. And please, whatever you feel like, you know, you want to talk about, or if there's anything that I mentioned during the live that resonated with you or didn't, let me know. And this could be a topic for another live on Monday next week. So thank you so much for tuning in, whoever went online with me. I appreciate you, I love you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm ever so grateful for your presence in my life, and I will see you again next Monday. Ciao, ciao.